And we are live. Hello, everyone out there in the wonderful world of Twitch. This is John here at Rook and Rasp, and we are here for Seriously Let's Play. But before then, of course, it is the infamous time for the everyday Twitch seance of hello out there in the wonderful world of Twitch. Can you hear us? Hopefully, our audio looks good and our video looks good. And if we are having any issues, just drop it in chat. Let us know if something you can't hear anybody, or if all of a sudden the screen messes up. It's all good. But other than that, this is Seriously Let's Play. And Seriously Let's Play is our community building show where we bring people from all over America and all over the world sometimes, creators, streamers, fans, artists. And we all sit down and say, hey, let's do the thing that brings us all together, the thing that unites us, and that is playing some games. Today, we have an awesome opportunity, and that is that we have joining us through our contacts with the Independent Game Designer Network, we have Mark Sabalaskas. Did I say that correct?
Yes, indeed. I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for bringing us this game. Today we're playing Return to the Stars, and at this point, Mark, it's your show.
All right. Well, let me tell you a bit about Return to the Stars. So, Return to the Stars is optimistic space opera. It's hope punk. So, it's all about people caring about their communities and the greater world and going out and helping people. So, kind of think Star Trek vibe. What is a little unique that we're folding in here is the setting is very pop culture influenced. So the setting is the 27th century. Humankind has spread through the stars as humanity is wont to do in these types of stories. And in a world where post scarcity, robots can do all the work, people are going to hang out and, with their people, and there's going to be at least one planet where pop cultural enthusiasts are hanging out like they might at a con these days. Talking about was that reboot of Yuri on Ice in the 23rd century the best one, or was it the other one where they shifted the setting up to a space station and it was zero gravity water polo was the sport. That's the type of thing that gamers and geeks are going to do. So you actually come from a planet where people are basically hanging out. Robots are bringing margaritas to the pool and getting to play games and do science and have all that sort of fun. And then the adventure hook is 120 years ago, the a great stellar beacon which illuminated hyperspace and allowed hyperspace travel went silent unexpectedly. So your civilization has been doing well because you've got a lot of scientists and geeks, and you've been able to go around to a few local star systems because you had, replica things for doing parades and live action role playing. So you had some of those early 22nd century starships, but your players will be competing because there's a new starship, the Andrea Norton, that's going to go out and explore. So you're competing to be on that starship. So that's the basic background of the setting. Uh, the system itself is based on fate. So Return to the Stars was a 2020 nominee for Best Setting in the Indie Groundbreaker Awards, and that was really exciting. But the core mechanics are powered by Fate, which is one of the most popular generic indie games out there. And if anyone has ever never played Fate, it's very similar to other games in terms of we'll decide if there's an interesting opportunity to roll some dice to see if something has happened or not. We'll roll some dice, add some skill points, and see how things go. If you exceed the target number, you succeed. If you tie, you can succeed with a minor cost. And even if you fail, we want to keep the story moving forward, so you can always succeed at a major cost. So very traditional indie narrative. The one other fun thing about Fate that I'll call out, just so that it's going to be something we'll probably see here, just for all the viewers, is there are the characters are described with aspects. Those are simply true statements about the characters. Each character also has three fate points. So whenever the who the characters are, those true statements about the character can help them. For example, we've got a scientist here, and they know that science advances one funeral at a time. So when either their publication history or their ability to make someone not living comes into play based on that sort of motto that they live by, they could spend a fate point and get 2 + 2 points to any roll. And the other neat thing about fate is who you are can also get yourself into trouble. So whenever anything that one of our characters do could complicate their lives, say the scientist is a very curious person and they'll leave their guard post to go off and investigate a strange noise. That might not be the wisest decision, but it's exactly the type of thing you'd see in a cool comic book or in a TV show. So if the player makes that choice, for their character, and it complicates their life, they can get another fate point so they can be awesome later. So you get that up and down fiction. So that's basically the mechanics that we're playing. Again, these four characters are all competing together as a team to get on this spaceship to go further afield and start reconnecting those other worlds of humanity with whom contact has been lost over a century. Before we get into the story, why don't each of you have a chance to introduce yourself and your character? And what's the best way to start? Why don't we start with Sable?
Yeah, I am Justine. I'm playing Sable Spencer. I am a boxer and also a painter on the side. I don't like bullying. Um, and I'm a sensitive artistic soul on the inside.
All right, that's great. Tanya.
All right, I am Corey. I am playing Dr. Tanya Parks, who is a very uh, polymath scientist. She knows almost everything, if possible. Um, she also carries a nice giant plasma cannon gun. I don't know if I call it a plasma cannon, but it does hurt when she shoots you. So it's going to be
You
fun to
can set
play.
things on fire and
I can set
observe what
things on
happens.
fire. Hmm.
We have Leslie.
Hi, I am Frankie, and I'm playing Leslie Lachance. Leslie is a cosplaying champion and a gender fluid shapeshifter, currently using he, him pronouns, and I am very excited to bring all my skills to this new adventure.
Awesome.
Well, you can't succeed without a cosplayer. I'm certain of that, especially when it comes to first contacts. And then we have Donna.
Hi, so I am playing Belladonna Rose Esther Dahlia Fernsider, better known as Donna, and I am a pilot. First and foremost, thank you. But I am also from a world that everybody has been genetically engineered to look like halflings and dwarves and gnomes and other fictional fantasy creatures. So I have escaped that simple life, and I'm out here to make a name for myself.
I am certain that is going to happen. So we'll get started now. I'll just remind everyone you can always do an X card. We want to be safe. Jump in if there's anything you'd like us to tweak or rewind or change. But otherwise, let's have some fun and get started. So you are all enrolled in the Scouts Academy. And because your civilization is all about pop culture and geeking out and getting enthusiastic about pop culture, when it came to staffing the first long range interstellar starship, they knew that the only possible way to do this was to run it as a reality TV show on the holonet. So you're basically competing against other teams on a variety of different challenges. And you guys are doing pretty good here. And you know, as you're sort of looking through your personal information devices and holographic cheat sheets, that your agenda for today is the first thing will be a symposium on history. You're going to go to a classroom, and you've been given some readings on a very dark time uh, in uh, in ancient history, the 21st century. And there's going to be a discussion in some way of getting some points here, thinking about history. Then you're scheduled for some sort of event in Death Trap Arena. So that sounds like it could be exciting and fun. And then towards the end of the day, there's a miscellaneous event that's not described, but is going to involve all the teams competing for a berth on the starship. Um, so my question for each of you to start is, we're going to have some fun talking about history, but how is your character going to approach going to this classroom? Are you going to be there eager beaver and early? Are you going to show up just on time? Or is your character got a few other things they want to nail down and yeah, gonna throw in maybe a little late? So, anyone want to chime in? Any ideas about how your characters might interact with this concept of getting to class?
Question for Leslie,
Yes.
from Leslie, is the person who's giving the symposium somebody Leslie knows?
But not personally. You know that the Science Academy, because your training is very important to get out there and be there, is getting the best people from within the whole your society is known as the convention. Um, so it would be someone at the top of the field when it comes to history, but and probably someone with good presentation skills because it's a holographic thing, but probably not someone Leslie knows personally. Although
Okay.
you do have an academic specialization, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Specializing in pre-stellar Earth, so I wasn't sure. But
Well, this is true. This is true. So, yeah, you know, if you'd like, you could spend a fate point, and they could be a colleague, or you could get a fate point if you would like this person to be one of your rivals when
oh,
it comes to academic.
absolutely a
Ooh.
rival. Absolutely a
Oh, okay.
rival.
All right.
110%.
All right. So, all right. Do you have any thoughts on what that rivalry might be about?
Absolutely. So this rivalry stems back to the most important argument within the 21st century, which was Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Oh,
Um, and Leslie is obviously clearly in the Star Trek post-scarcity world, while their rival, whose name is, you want me to name the speaker?
you're welcome to if you've got a name.
Chad. Chad Chad
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a Star Wars fanatic, which Leslie finds absolutely ridiculous. So I plan on showing up early, but I'm going to show up in like a Star Trek inspired professor's garb where I'm in the leadership gold, but like
Ooh.
but make it fashion. um
Mm-hmm.
and more in instead of like the more of a like a wrap dress with that color but with the epaulets, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like sit near the front, very like politely here to judge the crap out of um my
Okay.
rival's presentation.
Well, all right. So, and then my follow-up question is, obviously this is kind of exciting. Your rival's going to be there. You're dressed to the nines. people are following on anyway, but are you sort of connecting with your followers on holographic social media as well?
Yes,
Are you
yes.
sort of streaming this to your crew? Okay.
Well, I'm obviously using the like tricorder. I have
Mm-hmm.
like my stream. I'm going old school. I'm using a handheld streaming device. And
Mm-hmm.
just very, I'm definitely approaching it in the like, oh, oh, poor sweetie. They think they're the expert. Very like, oh, this is adorable. Very like, I'm too good for this, but I'm deeply upset that I wasn't asked to speak. Um,
Oh.
and so I'm, like I'm not being like super like Chad sucks and be like, it's so wonderful that he has that opportunity to speak when like he wasn't able to get into the academy. I'm glad that they're still allowing like an avenue for him to participate.
I'm going to say, based on this, that your numbers are higher than usual. People are really sensing the drama here, and I mean, you're a very popular person anyway. And hey, you're in here in the Scouts Academy, but things are streaming well here. So, all right, I love the meta of having your stream live while we're streaming this game. So anyone else have any opinion? Your colleague here is going to be there seated right up front. So is anyone sort of dialing it back and showing up late, going to show up in time, or do you want to show support for your colleague by being out there right up and early? Anyone have any thoughts?
Tanya's gonna be there bright and early, right with Leslie. Tanya's
Okay.
got a little bowl of popcorn. She's got her tablet with the stream. She's got
Mhm.
her little Palm computer
Tanya's
looking
watching
at
the
just
show.
random just random statistics about what we're about to discuss. And she's just got her feet up on the table. Just she's gonna enjoy the show no matter what
All
happens.
right. So you guys are right up front. How about Donna and Sable? As interested in helping your colleagues, being up there bright and early. You might need to get that coffee, but you're entirely welcome to be there at the same time. But come on, you got your historian here, and you got your scientist. They're ready to rock. How are you feeling about this as a pilot, Donna?
I am like, okay, yeah, I'll be there for support. I'll be there just in the nick of time. I need to get my coffee. But on
Okay.
top of that, as I come into the hall or wherever this is, I am going to be walking backwards, and I'm going to be going down the steps backwards. And anytime if any people are this like, what are you doing? I'm just going to be like, I'll look at them and be like, double finger guns, breaking the rules, and I
Breaking the
continue.
rules.
And I just
All
yeah make my
right.
way all the way to the front like that.
Okay, that's very intriguing. I'll put a pin in that for just a moment, and we're going to circle back. And then, Sable, are you thinking you want to be there early? Just hey, you're competing to be on this interstellar starship. It's important, but coffee is also important. Or maybe there are other things that touch your artistic soul and have sort of captured your attention, and you're gonna maybe show up late. I don't know. How are you
Uh,
feeling?
Sable is a bit of a conundrum. She's got the routine of a bodybuilder, but she's
Mm.
also got like the kind of whimsy and slight clumsiness of the artist. So I think she shows up early, but early as in like 2 minutes before you're technically supposed to be there, or like before on time, having no earthly idea of the rivalry, having no earthly idea to the context of what is happening in that front row. Um, just full on is just like, I am aware of the Star Trek, Star Wars thing, and I get that it's a big deal, but that's all I get. And
Mm.
Sable, she's very jock minded in that. She's like, I'll, whatever my friends want, I guess I'll support them, but I don't know what I'm about to walk into. Sable comes in unintentionally wearing like red Star Trekky reminiscent
Oh,
um,
not
attire,
aware of the
and just
signifier.
and just
Oh. Oh.
very politely does not dare to show up late, even if that means
Hmm.
skipping coffee, because teachers have it so hard. You got to respect the teachers and the guest speakers who work so hard to make these symposiums and put them together. Got to be respectful of that. I've gone to a lot of speeches and
Okay.
stuff. So, um,
All right.
makes her way. It's kind of cool to sit wherever and then kind of sees her crew and just like with her notebook and like single pencil in hand, just kind of like sits in the row directly to behind and is like, I'm sorry, what's up? Does anybody kind of feel that animosity? Did I miss something?
Yes, definitely. I think with artistic soul, you can sort of like notice this, and you're like, that's an unusual amount of intensity there from Leslie. So let me just describe this room. So there's actually, um, it's a sort of theater in the round. There's a big holographic projector in the middle that you can tap into to sort of display information and right now you guys are towards the front. Your friend is just skipping down the stairs backwards. When Leslie, your um, uh, AI bots that sort of manage your social media presence start buzzing. Things are really rising up, like above what you would expect. Even with this, if there's just like, hey, they're sort of alerting you something is going on. You're getting a lot more, views, even than you had projected. As you're sort of sorting this out, you sort of hear behind you a gasp, and the rest of you are sort of like facing forward, but I know we've got someone sort of traipsing in backwards doing the finger guns. So you see um, just walking in at that sort of uh, just before the last minute for the maximum impact on entry. Um, the queen bee of the contest, the person who's led the team to the heights and has defeated all of their competition so far, although she's never had a chance to face you, it's Elizabeth Regina. She is a genetic recreation of the first Queen Elizabeth of old Earth. And she's got a sense of destiny. And she's been leading a team, and she knows that she is destined as a true leader by her heritage to be the leader going out into space. So naturally, as someone who's been this effective in the competition, a lot of interest and excitement. So that probably explains why you're getting even more viewers than you expected, Leslie. Um, so my question for Donna is, you're breaking all the rules and you're jumping backwards. Do you want to just sort of smoothly, because you've got a lot of acrobatic skills, you know your place in three-dimensional space. Do you want to sort of take this in and just have this information that Elizabeth and her crew are here, or do you want to be caught off guard, get a fate point as you sort of tumble backwards down the stairs as this grand entrance happens?
I am all about that fate point. Let's take a fate point.
All right, Donna, you uh, tumble backwards down the stairs. I'm gonna say, coming up through the scene, you do have a bit of a sprained ankle. It'll go away at the end of the scene, but maybe that's something that could complicate your life. A little pain going on there, but you sort of were not the smoothest moment as you were trying to come off as the sort of badass rule breaking pilot. What is interesting is Elizabeth sort of like looks down her nose at you, but doesn't pay any attention. she sort of like calmly waves the three selfie drones that are capturing her every movement to sort of like take you out of shot, and descends the stairs, sees that her natural place at the front has been taken by whoever you three are, and then sort of like sniffs and crosses past the hall objective projector so she can sit at front at the other side of the sort of theater and the round. So that's what she is doing. Does Would any of you like to jump in with anything at this point?
Yeah. So she's a genetic recreation of Elizabeth the First, Elizabeth Regina. Does that include the pale
That's
skin?
what it claimed. I'm not quite sure how that happens. There was those dark times in the 21st century, so maybe the genetic material is from the second Queen Elizabeth. Who can say?
So is she as pale as the first, though? That's the question.
She is, in fact, very pale.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no.
Is it
Tanya's
is it genetics or is it cosplay?
That's the question. Blood paint's looking really good there, Lizzie, as she walks by.
I lean over and like, I heard she's so pale that a black light will turn her blue. But that's not like a mean comment. She's just like, do you believe that?
I
Good
don't
for
know. Like
very,
it could be
very
the type of thing that a curious scientist might want to investigate.
They might have done it at a rave.
A practical experiment could take place here. All right. Again, um, totally does not respond to this. But I will say, Leslie, your followers overhear this, and you're getting some likes and some thumbs up on this. So people are like the trash talking.
I don't
But she is,
wanna I'm so sorry.
mm,
I was gonna say I don't want to say anything to her directly,
yeah.
but any photos or like streams of her that come across my stuff, I'm just going to very calmly, without saying anything, just add like the hashtag colonizer,
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
because those in the
Okay.
know understand that that is very much like shade.
Mhm.
And I again not gonna say anything, just kind of drop it a few times to see if it picks up.
Okay. It does. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you are a very popular cosplay champion, so you've definitely got a following. But right now, Lizzie is sort of has more sort of like gravity on social media. Like, it's the difference between being like a normal like pop star and being like a supermodel or an A-list actor. It's sort of like
Gotcha.
you've definitely got your following, and you've got this sort of like trending among your followers, but you don't really see that it's breaking through to society as a whole. The other thing you can notice is there's a bunch of people sort of like glomming on and doing commentary and sort of like doing, hey, here's your stream and here's Lizzie's stream, and sort of like doing the MST3K thing, commenting on what you're doing. So it's definitely a good thing for you. Um, Sort of unnoticed because Leslie really takes center stage when it comes to social media. But in the room, her other teammates come by. There's Hakim Ito, who's a very sort of lithe, agile black man, sort of like crosses quickly past you. Jumping down the stairs is Zug Zhu. Zug Zhu is her pilot, also cosplays as a sort of um, Green Goblin type of figure. So definitely all up in that sort of cosplay. And finally, tromping down the stairs last is their tank, Zarya, who's based on the Overwatch character. And Tanya, actually, Zarya is sort of very big and bulky, and as she's sort of making her way down the stairs, um, her arm knocks your pad to the floor.
well, I
How do
can't.
you respond?
If I can, I'd like to use my acrobatics to catch it before it hits the floor. But I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure I've got it
First,
protected.
first roll. So my default for any roll, unless I give you a target number, is two. So we'll
Okay.
take your skill,
Which is a 3 in
add some fate
acrobatics.
dice to it, and um, see. So why don't you roll?
So that's two pluses, a neutral, and a minus. So that's 5 minus 1 is 4.
Or okay, so you succeed casually picking it, and I mean grabbing it before it thunders with the floor. You see her sort of like reach down to try to pick it up and then stop. When she sees that you just like grab it in a quick trick move and flip it back up in your hand with a success necklace. And she goes, my apologies. Sorry. Didn't need to do that.
Nah, you're good. Kind of
All right.
winks. It's gonna be a fun
uh,
show.
all right. She sort of blushes and then, again, sorry. And then from across the room, a sort of clear, sharp, perfectly pitched and articulate voice um, emanates from Elizabeth Regina, and she says, "Sorry, Hufflepuffs are beneath contempt. Get over here." Sorry, sort of like bows, but then shuffles off across to be with the rest of her teammates.
Yeah. And Antonia will definitely just kind of look over at Elizabeth and just twiddle her fingers like,
Yeah,
you're dealing with us.
so maybe a new rivalry starting to bubble up here, but we have an old rivalry as Chad walks in. So Chad is um, to
Professor
exhibit the
Chad.
mastery has to be in, I think, Jedi like realm uh, and very sort of classic sort of Obi-Wan style. I'm not sure if it's prequels or original series, but has that energy going on. Um, Walks in and sort of starts solemnly telling, well, if all of that drama is out of the way, perhaps we can get forward to our task, which is a very important trial. I know some of us know that history is important and stories are important, and the stories that we tell are important. Some of us want stories of destiny, others rely on simple humanism, but that's not the question today. The question is today is, are you prepared to deal with the societies that exist uh, out there? We know that we have been very fortunate. We have many scientists. We have these replica starships. We have people who are really geeking out about solving problems. And we are doing well, but gosh only knows how these other societies that have been cut off from all contact and don't have their advantages have lived. So we can only speculate as to what their societies will be like, but we do know from history what dark periods of time have looked. So we know that things can go wrong, and there are ways to make them better. So to test your readiness to encounter the unknown and these evolving civilizations, we're going to look at a dark time in its past, the 21st century. So my question for you, based on your knowledge of this concept, your knowledge of science, and your knowledge of human civilizations, um, what would you say, and what arguments can you make about the 21st century and its most noteworthy event, the climate wars? Work. And I'm asking each team to come up with a hypothesis and justify their hypothesis as to how the climate wars started. What was the inciting event? What was the true thing that started the climate wars of the 21st century? So I'll give you a moment to think and decide to formulate your answer. So he sort of sits calmly and meditatively as the teams start talking to each other and buzzing. So perhaps you all can decide what interesting hypothesis you'd like to advance as your theory, who you'd like to make that argument, and how the other people could sort of support it. So, does anyone have any ideas for what might be a good story or historical hypothesis about how the climate wars of the 21st century started?
Question. In this world, is it known how they started?
I think it is, but I would sort of view this as historic. Like talk about what was the true inciting incident of the American Civil War, or what was the reason that World War One started. You could look at it in terms of great powers struggling for colonial domination, or you could look at it in terms of alliance. You know some of the facts. It is a sort of dark period in time. You also know by the mid to the end, people overcame those challenges. And all the things they learned about overcoming the challenges of the climate war set the stage for humanity's expansion out to the stars. Addressing climate change led to terraforming technology that led to terraforming Mars and Venus, which was that first step beyond Earth. Being able to organize civilization in a way that was pro-social and helped everyone and unlocked human potential were all things that happened. But what that drama was and the challenges people faced, some people might point to, hey, was it the pandemic? Other people might point to, hey, didn't the Syrian civil war of 2011 start because of a drought, because of climate change? You know, it could be anything that you want. It's just like a theory or what you can totally decide the theory, and you don't have to be true. At the end of the day, this is discussion. You're trying to show that you know how civilizations can fall apart and can demonstrate that you'd be good at first contact because you can sort of analyze what's going on with this civilization.
Well, I know what it was, obviously. Come on. It
What?
Science
Yeah,
denial.
it is totally rampant capitalism and the pursuit of the AI driven vehicles.
Or was it Taylor Swift's concert tickets?
A little late
what
in
would
the
be a
year.
better example?
The convention industry really was not very eco friendly when it first kicked off. Nobody carpooled. They required large amounts of power, and just the sheer waste and damaged and destroyed cosplays alone really left a huge impact on those dumping fields. I couldn't think of the
That's
word.
so true. They couldn't even change their skin, so they used paint, which then went into runoff and damaged the water supply. Excellent point.
I mean, that's because everybody ignored the scientists. We had rampant anti-intellectualism, things like that. I mean, it's all kind of
You
under
know,
one thing, at
now that
least
you
from my
mention it, I
perspective.
think that I think there was a cosplayer back then named Yaya who actually sank a ship carrying competing fabrics.
Huh.
Yeah, they were removing fabric swatches off of penguins and seagulls for months.
Oof, forgot about that
And
one.
I would really say, given my studies, that it was the videos of those poor penguins in, excuse me, plaid,
Oh,
excuse me,
you
that
gonna be
really
okay?
drove people past the edge of return.
Yeah,
Penguins and Plaid is never a good thing.
Have
doesn't
nightmares about it
quite
sometimes.
doesn't quite match their feather tone.
Oh, it was usually a yellow. Sorry,
Ooh.
I can't even talk about it.
It's just Sable just like pats you on the back.
Thank you. Um, is there any way I could use like a skill to dig up like unknown knowledge that would like really shock people to kind of like help like push for like could I find the original file, like the video
I
file?
think that's an exact
I-
you. Yeah, what you can do and figure out who you can support them. I think honestly, you sort of like started this off, so you could probably you could present the argument as a whole, but I think each of you can come up with really cool things that might help, based on science or maybe if you're an artist, you could like draw some illustrations, based on what happened. I think each of you can come up with something. So, does anyone want to? Well, I think Leslie, you were trying to look up some actual video things. So I think your scholarship, yeah.
Yes. All right, and it's five. Ooh. Um, so unfortunately, I got two negatives, 1 0, only one positive. So that
What is
would,
one from your skill? And what's your skill? Or
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
what's your scholarship skill? Academic?
It's a +3.
Plus three. All right, so you're -1, so you can succeed, but at a minor cost. So perhaps, and you don't have to succeed, but perhaps the minor cost is um, people are very teary-eyed about before penguins in class, and they might not be paying quite as much attention. You've got good evidence, and it'll help most your case. There's just the emotional risk. There's a distraction. So I'll say you get like +1 to your attempt to persuade people rather than +2. Does that seem fair?
Mm.
Great.
So, well,
Scientists
they
have a research agenda here.
not necessarily a research thing because I've already sent that to Leslie's data pad. I want to overhear what Elizabeth is talking about because she is still probably streaming and didn't even think about that.
Ooh,
I'm
ooh.
assuming Leslie did though. Either that or I
Uh,
blocked it.
well, you came up with the idea, so I think we need to be more than thinking. So, yeah, no, it's really interesting. What you do is sort of putting her case together and documenting as a sort of like that sort of like YouTube makeup video tutorial. Here's how you do an academic presentation. So my thesis is it was the start of the industrial revolution in the 18th century that actually went. So she's going way back. So to get to see what's going on, probably not this insight into what your life is. You like to sort of like come up with some arguments to defeat them. You want to sort of create some maybe something more scoffing that must really out of scope. You've got some time to prepare. So any thoughts how you can take advantage of
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of whisper all this like, hey, she's going for 18th century connections. We can probably bring that in. She's not necessarily wrong. She's just a little
Boring.
misguided. Industrial Revolution did
it?
impact. It was largely textile based on the Industrial Revolution.
And you've got an argument based on captain, which of course is you could just
Mhm.
like undercut her while you're doing that. So I'm going to say you just succeed. So you'll get your team +1. If you got the insight. So I don't even think it's interesting to roll. I think you got the +2. Um, all right. So we've got +3 onto your roll because of the vest. What are our any things how you might be able to help your colleagues make this case about capitalism and all.
Sorry, I didn't hear that again. I
How would you say, how would you like to help make the case? Or you don't have to help, but if you don't have anything to say. You are a pilot. You're not really a pilot. Yeah.
I don't know if it would help or not, but my thing is, my character wants to add the spin because obviously they are a pilot, and AI piloting did contribute, and maybe the thing that was used to destroy the ship with the textiles was a drone being piloted by AI, and so they're going to research from that direction, and heaven knows if that will help at all.
All right. I'm going to say that's a bit of a stretch, so your target role will be this. But you are a kick-ass pilot, so why don't you roll and compare that to the difficulty?
All right. And what can I use as a skill to go with that?
I'm thinking you're simulating this, knowing that. So I'm thinking the time.
All right. Let me go ahead and make that roll. No, I am not going to be very helpful because I just rolled all minuses on my dice. So that is -4 on my dice.
Congratulations! That's a very statistically improbable event, and hopefully you got the bad luck out of the way. So I'm going to say your character is so engrossed in simulation that you're not paying attention to any of the rest of it. So not your highlight. Your on the other hand, you're having fun. Well, Uh, Sable, anything that you think you're
Um,
presentation.
1 second, really quick. We're actually having some audio issues and dropout. We're gonna switch over really quick and see if we can fix them. We will be right back. 1 second, everybody. All right, and we're back. This had to fix it. Just had a mic issue. There we go.
All right. So at last we know each team member is figuring out ways they could contribute to this argument about capitalism and penguins. So Sable, anything that you'd like to do to help Leslie make this case?
I think I've got something. So, in with her interest in art, and I would
Mhm.
consider the cosplay kind of environment to be a part of the art one as well. Um, I'd like to do a little art history digging to also kind of dive into the fact that that's just a very wasteful industry in itself. Lots of chemical paints, things like that. Things that people were probably applying to body fashion and environmental fashion that really had no business being in it and stuff like that.
Mm. No, I definitely think there's a story there that we can tell. So why don't you roll? I
Mhm.
think you can roll either on making or on cosplay for that, or perhaps science, whatever
Okay.
skill, because I think all of those would be relevant. And I think the difficulty is it'll just be two. That's an
Okay.
average difficulty.
Let's see. I will go with making. That's the higher of that than my cosplay. And then. Okay. I got two minuses and two pluses, and I get a +2 to making.
All right, so you can succeed at a minor cost, which how about we say, for purposes of this, that you're not used to this, you were actually quickly fabricating things and you've stained your hands blue. You can't program them to change back. So right now you've got like icky 21st century like paints on your hand. You're like, what could I do?
It happens when I get nervous.
All right.
Les.
I gotta say, with that, because that's your difficulty, you can also add two. So right now you've got +5 added to your roll, um, and you've got a little background. So Leslie, just a quick question for you. Do you want to be eager beaver and explain um, your theory first, or do you want to dial back? All the other teams are just waiting because they are sort of dreading what Elizabeth Regina is going to come out with. So they're all hanging back. But you have a choice. Do you want to like rush in front of her, or do you want to like give her some space to make some mistakes and come in with your role after?
I want to give her space to make mistakes. I want to go after her.
Uh, so she's going to basically talk a bit in the sort of like very elementary terms about carbon sequestration and climate change and the industrial revolution and really talk about the technology base and lay it out. And it's like the most boring argument ever. It's the play it straight down the middle type of thing. It is honestly what if you were at a sort of undergraduate 101, it would be the sort of consensus argument around the genesis of the climate wars. You know, dating back to these industrial processes, but it's not very original and it's not very insightful. So those are some of the weaknesses about it. What I will say is she's got a ruthless desire to win, and she's prepped well. So I'm going to say I get 1 point in every scene for all of you. You each have 3 point points plus what you earn in any given scene. I have 4 fate points, and she's going to spend one of my fate points on her ruthless desire to succeed, as well as the sort of cheering of her popularity. Um, and she's very good at presenting information. Uh, you know, social interactions are her apex skill, and she's kind of your rival here. So I'm going to say she's adding +4 um, from her 2 fate point spends, as well her surge skill is 5. So she's at 9 points plus whatever I get on my fate points. So that's going to be your target number for her kind of boring explanation. So let me just.
Man, is there anything I'm allowed to do to kind of like try to make it worse?
Like if her camera pans across me, I'm gonna yawn.
You can modify things and let me know what you're wanting to do. Remember, you're going in with a good skill. So her her role was unfortunately -2. So she's just presenting this, but there's no passion for science. And you almost can get there's no passion for explanation. He wants to do this, he wants to win because it's a competition, but you can see that undercurrent and you can see people responding to that. So at the end of the day, her role ends up being 7, which is a very convincing explanation, and all the other teams are cowed, but you can go against this. So let me know what you'd like to do. You can tap in. You could spend your fate points against any of your personal aspects, as well as the 5 that you've already prepared, plus your networking skill.
Okay. So I am a historian one of my aspects is I'm a historian specializing in
Mhm.
pre-stellar Earth.
Yep.
Um, so how do I tap that aspect?
So you have got 4 fate points. So you can just say, hey, because I'm a historian who specializes in Earth, it makes sense that I would know all of the facts that can buttress my case. I'd like to spend a fate point. I'll take you down to 3, and you get +2 to your roll, which would give you at this point +7.
And
Uh,
then
with the roll.
would also like to use the ambitious and hardworking aspect in that like she did her research and that's adorable. But like I collaborated, create like my team and I put energy and time into this. We worked together. We like brainstorm. Like she clearly just did not listen to any of her team. She just kind of, but like we worked hard together. Would that be
Okay.
allowed?
That would be allowed. What I will say is you've got a pretty good chance because you've got your
Already okay,
networking
cool.
skill plus your roll +7. And just because I haven't explained this, but just to go into a bit more detail for people watching the game, the neat thing about Fate is you'll roll dice, but that's not the end of the story. Any of your aspects can come into play. And you might go, but Mark, hey, preparation, how is that something that's going to come into play after we roll the dice? Don't worry about it. We can just do a montage about your preparation, right? It's a fun narrative game. So just feel that you've got that in your back pocket, but I don't want you to spend the fate points until you know that you need them. But
Or just
you've got +7 right now, so let's just see how awesome you're going to be.
ooh, ooh, uh, one minus, but three pluses.
So, remind me what your networking skill is. It is
Plus three.
+3. So you are at 10 plus two more, so that brings you to a 12. So you have succeeded with style. Um, I could resist with my fate points, but honestly, I can't overcome that. So, she is just going to not embarrass herself any further. She sees the writing on the wall and is not contesting your points. So she's, at the end of the day, she's coming here at the top of the leaderboard. And you're one of those rising teams, but you haven't been serious competition up to this point. She can let you win this one. So, um, uh, your rival is sort of like, well, that's a very dramatic um, explanation, but really has no traction. And just as you've sort of made the case for the sort of democratic, humanistic values of Star Trek, as opposed to that sort of mythic chosen one narrative of Star Wars, you've been able to make that case successful in the field. Um, they're not able to come anything to frustrate you, despite how desperately they desire that you be that your comeuppance come into play. So congratulations. Your rival reluctantly has to concede that you clearly are the winner, and the points are yours for this. So Leslie, you know, and everyone else, like Leslie already has the social media following. The rest of you don't, but you're like, hey, what's going on? Why is my haptics buzzing? Because you all are really like the first team that ever defeated Elizabeth Gina face to face. So now people, even if you don't want people following you, they are. And those of you who have like this team of AI bots helping you out, Leslie, you're just numbers are steadily climbing because people are like, commenting, and subscribing.
That's the power of teamwork.
It is the
And
power of teamwork. You all banded together.
I accept graciously. Like I Frankie danced, but Leslie is like so smooth about it. And definitely to Liz. Is it Liz?
You could call her Liz.
Oh, I'm
She calls
definitely gonna call
herself
her Liz.
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Liz, you tried so hard. I'm so proud of you as I like walk away.
Oh, oh, love that.
Sable's
Um,
just like, man. Sorry, I have to remember your character's name. Man,
Leslie.
Leslie is such a good winner. Like, what good sportsmanship. just completely over the head.
Oh.
I love it. I love it. But there is one wrinkle that Chad can bring to the table. So, as we know, our winners here are going to move on to Death Trap Arena to see what fate faces them there. But I'm going to use my discretion as an instructor at this Scouts Academy for rematch time. So I think we're going to send Elizabeth's team to go face you in Deathmatch Arena. I think that Zagzoo, noted pilot, is going to have some great time leading some mechs up against our new champions here. So let's see what happens there. I think it could be surprising. So Chad does get a bit of a last word in, but he can't take away your victory. You know what was up for the climate wars, and you also know that things can be better. So let's see how you can make things better in Deathmatch Arena. So it's 3 o'clock here. I'm thinking we'll run one more scene and then we'll have a little break. This will go quickly. Uh, Deathmatch Arena. Deathmatch Arena is a Roman style gladiatorial arena with a force field barrier at the edge to protect the audience. What is that going to protect the audience from? Well, there are giant mecha that battle in Deathmatch Arena, and you'll be crewing one of those um, uh, giant mechas against Elizabeth's team. And there are the death traps there. So any sort of comic booky type of uh, death ray slash swinging pendulum slash pit trap slash minefield that you could imagine, it can be there. So that's just an aspect that any of you can tap in at any point for a fate point because that's something that's true about Deathmatch Arena. So people are flowing in. It is kind of middle of the day. Not everyone would necessarily be here in person. They might follow just along on social media. But come on, you guys are having the best ratings ever. Everyone across the system is buzzing about this. So why would you miss the chance to be here in person? You're going to have a chance to go into the sort of prep area, introduce yourself to your mech, and figure out what you want to do. So I know we've got a pilot here. You've probably got some things. You've got a bunch of different skills. Your mech is a little monkey mech. So it's based on a sort of a baby mountain gorilla. So it's sort of like shaped in that sort of baby sort of configuration. It's got a laser cannon built into one arm, and the other arm is there for swinging or punching. There's a cockpit for a person to actually pilot the mech and move it through the arena. And there's a sort of support area. So we'll need someone in the laser arm. We'll need someone in the sort of swinging punching arm. We've got a pilot, and then someone can jump in and be that support player. So those are all roles that you can choose to take, and that's something you can think about. The other thing you can think about is you got 15 minutes before you're going to be fighting the other team. So what would you like to do to prepare? How could you create some advantages for yourself facing off against this enemy? So, any thoughts from the team?
Um, and I put forward an outfit change for myself.
Oh, absolutely. What would you like to be dressed in
Cool.
this?
Full like 80s spiky punk vibes. So like the battle vest, hair is now like the pink, orange, and blue mohawk. Skin is like celestial sparkly and like just like patches as far as the eye can see. Like like just like leather like there's definitely like a pauldron, like a comically large pauldron on one shoulder and just looks
Oh,
like a Mad Max character fell into a glitter tub. Um, I would probably.
I I love this. Why don't you make a cosplay roll, and whenever that glittery punk energy can help you, you can invoke this. So just make a cosplay roll. I'm gonna say difficulty one because that is just that I'm in kind of costume. I want to see this go well.
So I have a +4 to cosplay, and I had two positives and two negatives, so it's a 4.
Or you succeeded by 3 points. That means you get success with style. So whenever glittery punk energy can help you in this scene, you get 2 free invokes on that. So it's like
Beautiful.
spending 2 fate points without having to tap into your fate point. So you are there in style in 15 minutes, as only a true cosplay champion could do.
Yeah.
Um, Donna, you've got this new mech in front of you. It's a cute mountain gorilla. How do you want to interact? How do you want to get ready? This is your moment to shine. So how do you want to prep yourself?
Really quick, looking across the arena, just making sure, are they piloting essentially the same style mech?
You are actually, you don't know where they are. You know you're sort of like in a chamber beneath Gas Trap Arena, and your character is going to be uh, rising up from the floor. So you don't have any visibility right now because you're in the pit crew, which isn't to say if you wanted to like use some infiltration skills, maybe you could hack into some system and figure out what their mech is like. I'm not saying I don't want to discourage you, but there's no like immediately obvious way to figure out what their mech is.
Uh,
So has she?
yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, has she figured out that her stream was what gave her away the last time, or is she still streaming?
I'm gonna say she's aware of this by now because her followers go, "Oh, must have been what happened," and they're all sort of dismissing the people they're calling Hufflepuff as only having one because they were looking in. Not put discounting all your hard work and effort and plaid penguin videos. Um, they've sort of like alerted her that she's got a bit of a posse behind her because she's got so many fans. And those fans kind of are targeting you. So you can see that. So you can't immediately look in, but that doesn't mean you couldn't take some other steps. But you do have some notion that there's sort of like hashtag Hufflepuff. Some of them are bicapitalizing Hufflepuffs, like they don't quite understand the Harry Potter reference because that was part of the 21st century, but it sort of like fell off because of the author's bad intentions. So it wasn't quite as popular as say Star Wars or Star Trek by the 27th century. People with some skill know what's going on, and other people reclaimed that media and reworked it in less problematic ways. But it's just not up there. So there's sort of like hashtag Huffle, hashtag Puffs. They don't quite get it.
For sure.
So what would
I'm
you like to do?
I'm very
So you
upset.
know this. You see this is going on. So anything that seems like an opportunity to Tanya?
If Donna sees it, she's going to be very upset that they are comparing us to wizards, because that's fantasy, and I am definitely not cool with that.
Well, I mean, the good news is you'll get there eventually, but right now you've been focused on your costume. So we're gonna give some of the other characters a chance to shine. So anything, Sable, you know about getting into the ring, which is kind of what this is. So, like, how do you prepare yourself for for getting into a conflict like this? What does your character do to get ready?
I think she puts on like something to the notion of traditional boxing uniforms. She's got like her gauntlets on and everything like that. But everything is just like got like a really cool glaze to it. Everything kind of has like this really like kind of futury, very oh, I can't think of the words, but like everything's kind of got like a nice kind of like chromy shine to it. She's really into like the chrome, modern, sleek look right now. I think she jumps between different phases or periods of art, and right now she's kind of hitting that like uh, minimal, sleek look. So everything just kind of looks like a big piece of aluminum that's gonna deck you in the face. But it's like
Probably.
yeah, it's cold
I
and
I can
unfeeling.
I can imagine that. I don't know. We got almost kind of like a very '80s vibe here. This sort of slate
Yeah,
metallic thing going on. I think we almost have a theme here. Why don't you make a cosplay run? I'm gonna say difficulty one, because this is like how you traditionally psych yourself up. So you're
yeah,
centering yourself with very familiar garb here. So,
yeah. Okay, so plus one to cosplay. Um, that is two blanks and two pluses.
okay. And what's your cosplay skill itself? Or do you
Just one.
Last one. So it brings you to a three. So you succeed. So you have one invoke. You are all geared up and ready to go. Excellent. Um, so either our pilot or a scientist, something you'd like to do to help out, or
I know
you
Tanya's
know?
going. Oh, go ahead, John. Go ahead, Donna.
So I was going to let's go ahead and see if I can do some form of infiltration to this, see what I'm up against, what they're going to be piloting and everything, if that's possible.
Okay. So that sounds good. Why don't you make that a skill roll? I'm going to say it's going to be the default difficulty too, but you've got a fair number of fate points at this point. So, and you're someone who breaks all the rules, so I think you got a good shot.
Oh yeah, there we go. Hey, that I like that roll a lot better. So that's going to be a +2 with my skill for
Ooh,
intrusion, which is 2.
okay.
So that should be that 4, and should put me over the base. So
Yeah, so I'm going to say you succeed. You get in. You manage to. They've shut off all their feeds through social media. Hey, but there's security cams in the arena. They got this big, huge death traps here. Just not in a post-scarcity world. Anyone's worried about someone stealing it, but you wouldn't want like teenage kids sneaking in and setting off death traps. That's probably not a good idea. So you find those systems, you get in, and you see, and what you see is um, a Elizabeth signing a requisition form as someone is unboxing a video. So there's a mech that's about your size in the corner, but what's being unboxed is that appears to be a military grade mecha. Like it's like 4 times the size of your mech, and like it really appears to be armed with like serious um, armament. I mean, and again, you're living in a sort of post-scarcity utopia, but people do like to sort of like engage in war games, and that is something like above and beyond anything that you've ever seen. So thank goodness you saw. Yeah, it's a giant mecha. It's got 4 sort of robot tentacle arms on which it sort of like stands, and sometimes it raises up and has claws. There's a giant circular um, uh, uh, structure in the middle with sort of hardened plating and one eye that sort of glows sickly green in the middle of that structure. And painted alongside is the name Cyclops. So, so you don't get a plus out of this, but you do know what you're up against, which is something very scary, perhaps scarier than what you were intended to go up against.
I'll make my way back to the team, and I'm gonna be like, they're getting a military grade mech with a whole lot of nasty hardware.
What are we getting?
That.
It's a very cute monkey.
Oh man.
It's a
We have
baby
to-
monkey.
Is there a sort of contest supervisor or producer nearby?
I gotta say, because it took some time to do this intrusion and learn about it, they're just sort of like gesturing you into the mech. So if you just want to refuse, you could. I'm not going to say you have to follow the lead, but you're getting this information in real time, just as you're about to board and get ready. So, I mean, if you want to stop and protest, you can. Um,
Or we could just make a monkey out of her.
I can do this.
whoa!
I can do this.
All right.
But
People
Yeah.
feel confident, but I don't want to lead you either way. Does that sound like the decision?
All right.
All right. You're going to make a monkey out of the Cyclops. Okay.
Just
I mean,
weird.
it's easy.
All right.
Is it
Um, Yep.
is it colored the same as Cyclops' uniform from X-Men?
no, it looks like they're just sort of like they're using like a cheesy Adobe Papyrus font, like as if that was ancient Greek. It's not like it was totally like sort of like referring back to sort of ancient history. I think is where they're going.
So
Not even tying in to the pop culture that is so dear to
So,
the heart of the people of the convention.
so nobody blinding the Cyclops. I can get it.
Well, you know, that would be a classic move. That would be a classic move. Okay. So let me just quickly jump. I'm thinking it's pretty obvious where the opportunities are, but we got a pilot seat. I'm guessing that's just going to go to Donna. All right, sounds good. We got a laser arm, we got a punching arm, and we've got a sort of overall support role. So who'd like to do what?
I'll definitely do the punch arm.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, that
Tanya's-
sounds great.
Tanya's taking the laser. It's a big gun. She likes guns.
It is a big gun.
I will be the
And
sparkly support.
sparkly support. All right, so you is the does anyone want to have any particular? You got a bit of an '80s vibe going on. Any sort of like song that you want playing as you rise up into the arena here? I mean,
Yes. Pilot, what you think?
well, I was thinking, let's go 80s retro with the Donkey Kong, like old, the old theme song that was on those arcade machines. Yeah.
all right, some chip tunes. All right, so chip tunes are playing cheerfully as you sort of like rise up into the arena, and people are like cheering and going wild. I mean, there's a bunch of people. Let's face it, Elizabeth has, everyone has their favorite teams, and Elizabeth has crushed a lot of them. So there's, a fair number of people in the stands who are like cheering you on as this music is playing. And is there anything you'd like to do as you're sort of like being introduced in this cheerful baby monkey mech? Any sort of like
Oh yeah,
moves you'd like to
we're
make?
gonna do some barrel rolls, obviously, and
Yeah.
we'll also do kind of that classic little gorilla on being the hands on the ground, the
Oh
So-
yes, honestly, um, they're eating it up. When suddenly your music is sort of like silent, and there's that huge sort of like Hans Zimmer sort of like bong, type of music a la Dude, where it's all about the subfrequencies and just sort of like shaking everyone out of the seat as a portcullis arises and Cyclops strides into the back, into the arena, sort of like stomping in the sand, uh, oozing on the tentacles towards you. And people are like, what is that thing? I've never seen anything like that in the arena before. Oh my God. So, as it's sort of gliding towards you. Um, so, we're going to do a very simple and abbreviated combat here. My question to the team is, would you like to take your actions first? Or do you want to let the enemy deal a mighty blow first and respond to it? In terms of defense, that's going to be all on the piloting, getting out of the way. If you can figure out some way that you can support that with your action, with your laser arm, with your sort of observations or encouragement from social media, with moving and punching, you can do that. But we're basically going to do. They have a role that our pilot defends against, and then you all have a chance to take some actions if you don't want to support that defense. So, do you want to let them take their worst shot, or you want to be moving around like a monkey and getting ahead of them?
Uh, I tell the team, let's see what they can do, because essentially I just want them to I want to give them the opportunity to attack, but I have the ability trick maneuvering, which if I can successfully evade, it'll actually give them stress.
Okay.
And so I'm limbering up. I'm gonna let them try to make their hit. I probably, do a little cheeky monkey turn and tap my metallic posterior at them.
As you do.
All right, a little bring it on. I like this cheeky monkey posterior. Actually, why don't you make a quick roll for piloting to see if you just get them a little. You're trash talking them with your visual language here, so give you a chance to get a bonus.
All right, so that is going to be a +1 with my piloting, and that's going to be a 5 total on my skill.
Okay, all right, so 5 on your skill. So I definitely say you have got them angry. So that's an aspect that's in the game, and they're going to try to hit you now. So you've gotten them angry. So I'm actually going to roll. Zarya is very skilled at combat, so she's going to roll against her skill of 5 to attack you. And let me pick up the thing here and see what we add to this.
Is there any way I could, if that's going to be the number they're against, can I bolster that with any of my aspects?
You can do that, but probably do that after the roll, so you're not spending things unnecessarily. So she rolls a 0, which gives her a 5 for her attack roll. So you'll want to roll your defense against that.
All right. So I'm rolling again, my piloting. There we go. That's going to be a +3 with my +2 with my piloting, because that was 3 pluses with a minus. So that is going to be a 6 total on my piloting.
All right, 6 total on piloting. But Zarya is a guild combatant, and she's going to spend one of my 4 paint points on that to bring her roll from 5 to 7. And then Zugzu is going to spend on I've got the moves. a fate point to bring it to 9. They really want to get some hurt on you. Elizabeth is not in the mood to not at least score some damage to revenge. So currently it's 9 to your 6. So
Okay.
that's going to be a little incoming damage. Nothing that really hurts you, but it is sort of like you're needing to maneuver around and you're spending up some of your stamina and luck to avoid it. So nothing bad will happen to you, but unless you really want to spend a lot of fate points, you're not going to get that sort of clean, hey, you missed me.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was just thinking, you know, using like either Need for Speed or Button Masher. You know, if I
You
could with
certainly
those, but
could. You certainly could, but you'd be spending. I get my fate points every scene, and they're basically spending those kind of like free fate points. So
okay.
totally your call, but they're kind of like well motivated to like at least show that they're not incompetent. Like Elizabeth is gunning for gun, and you'll get to see how the weapon works.
True. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go with that, and then
All right, so you take some stress, but no actual damage that impedes your mech in any way. Um, Knowing that there's a hit, Elizabeth is going to take it up to the next level. This mech has a stunt. Stunts are like your evasion maneuver. There are things that can break the rules and make your character do something a little trick. Her stunt is that this is a military grade mech and has a death ray. So she's just going to do the death ray stunt. So each of you is now irradiated. So nothing that is harmful that will impede you right now, but you are irradiated. So if you ever want to get into trouble feeling weak, um, you are irradiated. So you can go radiation and, and take that as an aspect. And I could spend a fate point against that. So you are irradiated. Your mech has taken a slight bit of stress, but you've seen what they can do, which is this giant glowing death ray. So that's not the most fun thing in the world, but it's your time to do this. So I will let each of you decide who goes first. I think we've got two weapons people. You've got some punching going on here, and you've got some lasering. And you can figure out how you want to support either of those, Leslie. So who's going to leap in? Shall that be our boxer or our scientist who's really good with plasma weapons?
I think I've got an idea if you're still thinking.
If you have an idea, go for it, because
Yeah.
I have a couple of courses of actions that I'd like to take, but if you've got something immediate, go for it.
Yeah,
It might actually put me.
nothing complicated. I'm just gonna go pretty tanky. Um, I'm seeing. You said there were 4 tentacles that they were using as legs.
Yep.
Very Squidwardy. Um, I think the fact that it's standing is a problem to me. So what I would like to do is create some sort of maneuver where I want to grab the tentacles and wrap them up in one. Is that something doable or is that too much?
No, I think that's a great maneuver. So you're basically trying to sort of like impede their mobility by grabbing these tentacles. I'm
Correct.
gonna say, yeah, all right. Why don't you, that could be an advantage you could create to your friend who's going to be firing shortly. So why don't you use your combat arts skill
Okay.
um, to do that? And I'm going to say, that's a typical maneuver. I mean, that's very dramatic, but this is a pulpy science fiction space opera, so that seems normal. So just make a difficulty two to try to do that.
Cool, cool. Okay. Okay, that is a plus, 2 minuses, and a blank, and I get 3 to combat arts.
So that brings you to two. So you could succeed at this if you want to spend a fate point, or Um, we could say that you get a minor cost for this. So perhaps the minor cost is they're dragging you in. Like you grab the tentacles, but the tentacles are sort of like have their own power, so they're dragging you really close to the eye. So you'll get a bonus on this shot, so you better make it count. But they'll get a bonus of +1 on their next shot. So you'll get +2, but they'll get +1 on their next shot because they're dragging you close. So you don't get everything you want, but you do get a slight advantage. Does that seem like something?
Yeah. I think of just because of the Cyclops comment that was made earlier, I'll go ahead and take the slight disadvantage.
Okay. So it seems like we're setting Tanya up for a good laser bolt here. But before we get there, is there something that Leslie would like to do that could help um, Tanya take aim or succeed in a dramatic way?
Yes. So I'm irradiated. I am a cosplay champion. So in my mind, it would make sense that I could gather all the irradiated energy in my body into one point and then force it into the energy bolt, basically powering it, like overloading it. So the
Okay.
bolt is extra powerful.
So you're saying that you experienced this before, so you'd like to do this. I'm going to say you've got two choices here. You could either use your make skill, and I don't know what that is, because that would be traditionally how you'd like channel energy, or you are a cosplayer, and if you want to just say, because your aspect is cosplay champion, that you've literally done this before because you're a champion, I'll just let you use a fate point, and you could use your cosplay skill if that's better.
So I already have the activated thing, the +2. Can I use that
Okay.
instead of a fate point?
Yeah, I would say that you can.
Okay.
And you can use that, and then you could use both of them if you'd like. One to enable it, the other to make your roll so that you can really try to succeed well at this and really help
Then yes,
your
please.
friend.
I'll use both of those. And I am while I'm doing it, I was like, oh, there was that one time where I was playing Cyclops. Do you remember? Oh, that was so fun, and I had to push it out. Yeah, it was a whole thing. And so I am doing that, and then it's a cosplay role, I assume.
Yes, yep.
So I had two neutrals, a positive and a negative, so my cosplay is +4 total.
Okay, +4. So you succeed. So your friend is going to get +4 to their roll. So, Tanya, it's on you. I mean, no
All right.
pressure. You know they're going to come up with something. What are you doing?
I am definitely aiming. Um, I'm gonna aim for their optic sensors, literally.
Yes.
Um, I know they probably have other sensors, but I'm hoping they're clustered together. I haven't really gotten a good chance to look at this mech. Um, but the fact that they're pulling me in might be a mistake, so I might, depending on how this rolls, invoke one of my aspects. So,
You definitely can.
mm,
Why don't you roll on your attack? I'll roll for their defense.
so that is 3 for my blast skill, +2 from the die roll. I got 2 positives and 2 neutrals. And then +4. That's definitely a lot of shift. That's 5
Okay.
plus 9.
9. All right. So they had uh, uh, a 5 skill opposing you, which would be still a solid hit. Unfortunately for them, a -2, bringing it down to a 3. So you succeeded by 6. I'm going to say, if this were a normal combat, we might go back and forth, but I think with all of the bonuses, um, and your cunning plan of being drawn in close. For a stream, let's just call it here. You blast the eye. The eye is the death ray, and itself it explodes in green light, and you've taken out their mech, and everyone is stunned. No one saw this coming, so there's a sort of eerie quiet across the stadium.
Hee hee.
Can we get some
And
hashtags on this, Leslie?
so, we're gonna do hashtag. We're gonna lean into the Hufflepuff.
Okay.
So hashtag Hufflepuff, hashtag blowout.
I love that you could improvise. You were totally like Hufflepuff, no, fantasy. But now you're taking ownership. So suddenly, like across the stadium, people like one person at first, and then more and more people growing over time are like Hufflepuff, Hufflepuff, and then the cosplayers in the audience are like changing
Sorry,
their
Donna.
skin to be black and yellow, to be Hufflepuff. You see some people are sort of like holographically displaying little badgers, and it's sort of like, and then for people who don't understand, like some of these streamers who are like live streaming and commenting on your match are like, and the Hufflepuff was a badger, and they're brave and true, and they love their friends. Here, we're linking to an article that talks about how Hufflepuffs have the only good pedagogy because they'll teach anyone. So it's like all sorts of commentary. Your numbers are going through the roof. Actually, the rest of you, you can let me know if you really hate having followers, but you're as popular now as Leslie was before. And Leslie, you are up there with Elizabeth Regina, and you are in the center of the spotlight, uh, which makes it all the more shocking when an ambulance shuttle reaches in. Um, the sponsors, while they didn't notice this military grade mech come in, did notice that you were irradiated and you are all being medevaced up to the Highland Blood Drive, which is a space station which has the heart of the medical care in the convention. So they're really concerned about your health. As adulation attends, there are guests as you're sort of evacuated for medical treatment. This seems like it's 3:39 here on the East Coast. A great time for a break if people would like it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and take a 10-minute break and we will be back. And hi, everyone. We are back with Seriously Let's Play with Mark Sabalakis, Uskus, sorry. And we are playing Return to the Stars. So, Mark, your show again.
All right. So when last we left our heroes, they had made hashtag Hufflepuff trend across the entire convention, their civilization. But people were really concerned about their health because they had been evacuated to a medical space station because of the radiation from the military grade mech that Elizabeth had brought into play. The good news is you're doing okay. They're filtering the radiation out of your blood. You're in those sort of like Star Trek, white gleaming, beeping beds, and there's like little tubes in your arms, but you can see the evils are being removed, and you should be on track, but you are not on the surface of the planet as the rules for the last contest of the day are explained. So, as you recall from your agenda, there was the symposium, the death trap arena, and the last was all teams participating. And what all the teams are participating in is a scavenger hunt. So
Ooh.
the sponsors of the contest of this space authority say, well, as you know, our civilization grew out of people's love for pop culture and nerding out about their passions and building things and making things. But although people did come to relax and enjoy people speaking about the stuff they love, uh, and tourism was a large part of what was happening back in the day when galactic travel was possible. The other reason people came here was because our system actually has some rare materials, and these materials could be synthesized into a very important element in terraforming, and that element is mugafinium. So, in honor of this history and heritage and our return to the stars, we thought it would be appropriate to synthesize a vial of mugafinium and hide it somewhere on this planet. And we're hiding Mugafinium. And the first team to bring back to the judges a vial of Mugafinium, they will win this contest. Uh, so you're sort of like there in these hospital beds, sort of observing as these teams respond to this challenge in a variety of ways. So some of them are just like getting in and circling around, trying to find something. Others are sitting and planning. Other people seem to be setting up apparatus and equipment. Perhaps they're scanning. You can sort of like see them take action. You can take action, but you're needing to do it from orbit because you're here, um, being treated. So, what would people like to do?
Uh, is it considered cheating if I set up my scan from the space station? I can do it from my bed.
I didn't hear anything in that little spiel that I just rattled off that would say that would not be appropriate. So, I would say nothing wrong with that. There's no rules against that.
Did my equipment make it up here with me? Somebody hand me a computer. Just
I'll just
Hey,
pick up
there's
your
a
whole
lot of
desktop
computers at the
monitor.
space station.
like just hand me a terminal. And Tanya's gonna
All right.
get to work setting up like scans for both the materials that make up the Macafinium and if they've put the vial somewhere, setting up to scan for the that vial too,
Okay.
if she can.
Why don't you make a scan roll? I'm going to say if you're doing both of those things, it's going to be a bit more difficult. You're trying to get a lot of information. So let's say that's a difficulty three as opposed to two.
Okay.
Can we help?
I think in this case, I mean, it's just Tanya
Okay.
doing her thing.
I've got one die that's just doing that. Land. Okay. That is going to be a 2 total successes. I have one neutral, one negative, and 2 positives. But I'm going to spend a fate point to add to that. I'm going to I'm going to invoke my trouble. Honestly, the wait, that
Okay.
looks interesting.
All right. Um,
So,
Super. So you succeed because that's enough to bring you over the target number.
mm,
I like this. All right. So you were interested in two things. So you were looking for the vial and actually determining if you can determine the trace signal. And it does appear that they figured that a bunch of people would be trying that, and they've cleverly masked it, and it's impossible to determine where the vial is located with a simple scan. However, you are looking for signatures of the elements that are used to create megaphinium, and you actually have a reading that is off the charts. And you're a little confused at first because you're trying to resolve it to somewhere on the planet, but it is not actually on the planet. It is in the asteroid belt,
mm.
but it appears to be enough raw material to make like 30 tons of megaphinium just
Ooh.
sitting there in space. The other thing, you are a kick-ass scientist. I will let you know. This would not show up on a scan from the planet because the atmospheric distortion. So it's
Mhm.
literally the fact that you're on the space station means that you can see it.
We could make our own vial of Mugophinia.
We make 30 tons of this. Has nobody scanned out in the asteroid belt for this stuff before? You just see like Tanya's eyes do like that literal like anime sparkle thing going on. Like,
Well, I mean, they did say that people came here for this back in the day, but that was 120 years ago.
Donna, we need to get out there. I need a ship.
Okay.
I need a pilot.
All right. Let's go find a ship.
You're here. I mean, the sort of like people are like, wait, no, we've only got 90% of the radiation. Wait, no, what are you doing? Why are you walking away? Wait, all right,
Breaking
if you're gonna
all the
walk away,
rules.
could you at
Also,
least sign this release form? No, no.
Tanya,
Here's a discharge packet. All right.
science only advances one funeral at a time. I don't care if it's mine. There's 30 tons of this.
Okay. Well, I don't really see a spaceship here, but there are these space ambulances.
Ooh,
Let's do it.
yeah.
I can get rid of the other 10%. The equipment's on the
You
ambulance.
later.
I'm feeling fine. Don't want to get out of the cart. All right. All right. There's an ambulance. You start flying out towards the asteroid belt. It's going to be about a 40-minute journey out there. But you've got one of the best pilots in contention for traveling interstellar. So just riding around a simple system hop like this is going to be very simple and straightforward. Is there anything that anyone would like to do while you are on your way to this
Um,
mysterious destination?
I this may be totally pointless, but it's in my brain, so I kind of got to do it. You said this was a scavenger hunt. Did we
Yeah.
get like a list of clues or like a riddle or something like that? And if so, is it possible to have gotten one of those before we gotten into the ambulance?
Uh, That is an excellent question. This is my convention game, so whenever I play, I've probably done this with like 500 people, and no one has ever asked that before.
It's
So
a scavenger hunt.
I didn't think about. No, you're right. It's exactly what would happen in a scavenger hunt. So I will say yes, you do have that. You have grabbed that. I have no idea what it is because I've never thought of this, and no one has ever thought of this before. So if you think there could be something cool here, Why don't you propose it and we can incorporate it into the story?
So
Um,
what where my brain is going is that we are looking for uh, on paper we are looking for a single purposely hidden vial of mugaphinium.
yeah.
However, we have done a scan and found a buttload of it hiding out in the asteroid fields. My thought is, could there be some hidden riddle or some riddle with a hidden clue that it's not really the vial we're looking for, even though it very misleadingly makes you think you're looking for it, but instead you're looking for the payday motherlode out in the asteroid fields.
I would say that could be true. So we could either like figure out some like skill roll that you could make this true, or I would be happy to, just because of your artistic temperament, if you just want to spend a fate point to clear this to be true, we could
Yeah,
have that. I think, yeah. I mean, I think
let's
that
pay
would be
for
a
it.
fun thing to be true. So let's go with that. So yeah, you're like, oh, I don't know if they intend this or not, but this whole metaphor here could be about asteroids. So you're piecing that together. Um, Leslie, quick question for you. You now have
Yeah.
more followers than you ever had before. So are you going to have good messaging discipline and learn from Elizabeth Regina's mistake and turn off your feed before you go? Or are you going to put what you're doing out there in the world so that everyone can see it and devil take the consequences? I mean, it is a real temptation to ride this for all it's worth.
Question.
Yeah.
If I can't do this, I totally understand. I did want to say, first of all, I had an additional outfit change that was
Okay,
reminiscent,
please.
sorry,
Gotta see
of
the
like
outfit.
classical, like it's not as bulky, but it's that white of like classic astronaut garb. We're going out into the asteroid field. So like there's like this kind of like clear thing over and then the white and then like patches, but instead of like an American flag, it's like a world like like a unity kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um a very unnecessary bulky backpack that's just like yeah, just vibing. Um could I use my social media as a misdirect?
Well, are you going to be sharing like a live stream, or are you just going to like, hey, I'm just like texting or something like that? Like, because like a
I
live
was
stream would be kind of hard to do a misdirect, but if you've got an idea, I don't want to shut you down. So,
no,
what are you thinking? Tell me more how
I
you're thinking.
was I was going to kind of like try to shoot it so it looks like we're going somewhere on planet. Like be like, hey
Okay.
guys, just stole an ambulance because we're like hashtag wild and we're gonna get it first, and then make it look like we're flying towards the planet or towards somewhere that's not the asteroid.
Okay. All right. Why don't you
Because my art
make a
friend told me about the risk.
cosplay role here because you're gonna like green screen your ambulance to hide it. So see how good you are at doing that. So difficulty two.
Okay. Ooh, three successes, one neutral, and I have a cosplay of +4, so that's a 7.
All right. So you have hidden this. Well, no one is. People are just assuming, oh, somehow you've got an ambulance and you're on planet. So you're buying yourself some time before people notice this. Um, and I will say that your hashtag is trending alongside "Who Wore It Better" with like you and Neil Armstrong. So, and your fans all believe that you wore it better. So,
Aw.
It's like a
Proudest
full
moment of my life.
sequin suit.
Oh, yeah,
all right.
bedazzled. Yeah, instead of like a red knob, it's like a bedazzled red knob. Like, yes, thank you.
All right. So I think this is an opportunity. So you've got some cover and some distraction. We've got some sort of like rules lawyering the scavenger hunt thing to sort of like prove that this thing here. There's still the fact of the matter is you're the most interesting people in the world right now. So every all eyes are on you. So there's going to become a time when people are going to see past your deception because there's only so much you can do. But you've got a really good running start because of Leslie's thing. But Donna, why don't you make a piloting roll to determine like how far you can gun it to get there? So we're going to combine Leslie's roll plus your roll to see how long in this journey you're gonna be before they discover that you're not on a planet.
Sorry, I had
Oh no.
an audio issue there a moment.
Oh,
All right. So at this point, my main goal is just the piloting, maybe a little subterfuge, hiding behind asteroids from people if we're being traced or tracked, things of that nature.
all right. So it sounds like all right. So you're like being extra stealthy. All right. All right. Make that piloting roll. Let's see what you got.
All right, that's going to be a 5 total.
Okay. All right. So you got a very solid roll. Leslie's got a really good roll. So I'm going to say you're sort of really approaching your destination before anyone notices that in fact you're out here. So you've basically got like an hour head start. Even if someone wanted to follow you, you've got an hour here before they could get here. And as you're approaching, you see what at first appeared to be a giant asteroid, but then you see that this asteroid has actually been hollowed out and modified. It's a giant derelict spaceship. It looks like there it has been sitting here for a long period of time in a powered down mode. And inside this thing, your scans resolve that there are containers that contain all these compounds that are used to create magaphenium. So the history that was presented to you was people came to the system to find terraforming materials, and this may have been a ship that had done that. And 120 years ago, when the stellar beacon went silent, and origami engines no longer worked because if you can't see in hyperspace, you might die in hyperspace. So it was stranded here. So this is a relic from the past, from the last great age of galactic travel, sitting here with a cargo of magaphenium. So what would you like to do?
Gotta find a way in.
Mhm.
Does it appear to have like a docking place or a bay or anything like that?
Yeah, it is. There's a docking bay, and actually navigating there isn't a challenge for you. We won't roll on that. What I will note is it is kind of like powered down. So maybe some sort of making roll to like power up the dock so you can actually open the airlock. I mean, you could force it open too, but
Mhm.
You think this is something we're going to need to get off the ship to do, or something we can do with computers?
I mean, it depends on
you could
what's.
try either way.
Sorry.
Does an ambulance ship have gunnery?
I'm going to say no, unless you
Dang.
can persuade me otherwise. I'm open to persuasion.
It's a dangerous world. Even ambulance drivers gotta be safe.
Well, I was going to say, why don't we?
Uh,
I have no problem if somebody wants to hop off the ship and we can maybe try and power it up a little bit. We might have some like space whale defibrillators on the ship.
I mean,
Ooh.
all right. Who's decent at that? Anyone got good skill? Anyone want to? I guess someone has a uniform.
I mean,
Mm.
it's between me and Leslie. I can get the science in. Leslie can, if y'all can get me there, or we can both do it.
Yeah,
I
unless you just need me to beat down a door, I think you guys are the better options.
I don't think I'm gonna be the best at this. No, my I know my costume looks cute, but it actually is not space worthy at all.
All right.
All
Oh,
right, it's all
alrighty.
on you. So why don't you science the heck out of figuring out
Yeah.
this door?
Pretty sure that they have like emergency space suits for like emergency mid-flight repairs. I'm gonna
That would make
grab one of
sense. That
those.
would make sense. Or maybe someone's craft is depressurizing and you need this spacesuit to go assist them.
Yeah.
That seems totally within the realm of what would be a space ambulance.
Yeah. So, are there enough for all of the crew, or can I shove a couple of people into like the cockpit and seal the cockpit?
I would say that there's actually, because they might need to do these rescues, there's actually an airlock.
Okay.
So there are two spacesuits there. You can get one, but you can go through the airlock so the other people don't have to wear it.
All right. I'm also going to tether myself to the ship just in case. It's a smart thing to do. And
I
I am
like
going
this.
to go connect with the bigger spaceship. And
Would it be reasonable? I don't have to follow you all the way there, but to stay near your tether. If you need backup, you have backup that can be there pretty quick.
oh yeah, I definitely need a lookout. So
Yeah,
if
I'll
you wanna,
hop out there in a suit as well then.
All right, that sounds great. We did have two suits. All right, you're both out there.
Mhm.
At this point, the people have found out, so I guess you can go back streaming. You can do the radio announcer voice giving play by play if you want, and you can navigate the ship as closely as possible.
Mhm.
Why don't you make just like an acrobatics roll on your athletic skill
Okay.
to get.
All right, that's a 3 on my skill. Ugh. Okay, two sixes and two ones, which means I have two positives and two negatives. So that's a grand total of three
All
successes
right, I did.
on
All right,
skill
so
alone.
two is your target number if I don't give you a task. So you just like you get out there in just the right amount of tension, but succeeding handily. So you just scraped it in. So it's very dramatic. More likes, comments, and subscribes. Thank you for hitting
Yeah.
that really closely. And you're there in front of the panel. So you can attempt to power them up. You are a polymath, so I mean,
Mm.
computing, electrical engineering is your skill. So why don't we just straight up science the heck out of this?
Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Three positives and a neutral for a grand total of 7.
All right, so you
Thank
power up
you.
the airlock, but you also power up the entire ship. So this is going to play out this special success in a bunch of different ways for you. If you want to consult the ship's records, you can do that. Those are powered up. If you want to use the turbo lifts, they're powered up. If you're worried about people following you and you want to try navigating the engines, you can power them up. You've basically not just got docking, you've got the entire ship powered up. Really good job.
I want to get into the records.
All right, so
Like,
you'll need to get inside.
yeah.
So you pop in. There's no real interest in can you get back to the ship at this point. So I'll just narrate that. Sable pulls you in quickly. You get seated. Donna, you can dock easily. The power is up there. Um, this uh, asteroid is like 5,000 tons of rock that have been hollowed out. It is mammoth. As you sort of like enter the docking bay, you see that there's actually two sort of like shuttles here that could be leaving the ship and going out. Um, there are there's dust everywhere. Um, you see a ventilation system kick on and start clearing that. But you're inside.
They're like a little Roomba activated in
Yeah,
just
there's
one
one
Roomba.
little Roomba like, oh no.
one singular Roomba, just like, I got this.
It has to keep going back to its home, and it's like, please dump out the dust so I can keep going.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
Any objections to
uh,
calling
a
it Wally?
while. Yeah.
Object.
I affectionately nickname it Wally, at least.
Um,
If I am on the ship, I reach into my cosplay bag, and like any good cosplayer, I have googly eyes, and I put two big googly eyes on Willy.
Oh.
aw.
Sable puts a knife on Wooly. Now he's armed.
It went from Wally to Knifey. I like this development.
All right. Yeah. There's a sort of goal content integrity safeguard error message appearing on Knifey at the moment, but it sort of like uses the knife to like flip open the thing and clean its own container, and then starts going off and cleaning some more. So you made Wally happy. In fact, so happy that it doesn't try cleaning the eyes off of itself. So you made a new friend here.
Knifey.
But you have a mission. So what is the next thing? You are in this space station. People know you're here, but you've got some time. It's a giant um, starship hollowed out of an asteroid. So there's probably, I think someone had mentioned looking to pull up some information from the SIP system. You can do that while you're inside. Uh,
Mhm.
so you find that there's a sort of terraforming materials processing center deep in the heart of the ship, and you can go there. Right now, there is not any synthesized Magaffinium, but there is all the elements in giant cargo bays, and there's a machine for synthesizing Magaffinium. And I'm going to say, because you know enough about climate history as well as science, that you can see that this megaphanium, once it's synthesized, is actually used by terraforming equipment in the ship to change the climate of planets.
Okay. Oh, so many things. Where do I start? I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start the synthesis process first because that's probably going to be the least hands-on, and then I want to
Mhm.
look through the ship records. And
Okay.
but we only need
So,
like that small vial of this stuff, correct? Is
mhm.
that what the thing says on the sheet?
Yeah,
And
a
that's asking
vial.
the crew.
One vial.
All right,
Yep.
I can set that up easy. I
All right, so you've got that. You're pawing through the records while that is happening. Is there anything that anyone else would like to do?
Uh, is this ship operational?
It appears to be operational. I mean, everything is powered up. You're not seeing anything that looks like an error message. You'd probably want to go to the brig, not the brig, the bridge to. You're
Yeah.
welcome to go to the brig, but the bridge to try hands on. But from what you can see, it looks to be working. You'd like to go there. All right, so we have someone pawing through the record, someone going to the bridge. Anything else that anyone would like to do?
I'm gonna stand guard for any of the other contestants or teams that might be making their way. And
Ah,
I'd also like to ask Wally slash Knifey um, if he would like a new job to hold post with me. I'll go high and he can go low.
when you go high, we go low. Affirmative.
That's right.
All right.
You got it.
So Knifey is sort of observing. So we'll handle that thing first. Um, you're looking out because you're sort of scanning and looking. You can see that people are following up. Some people are just looking on the planet even more intensely for a while, trying to get it. But you do see from your scans that Linda Medina and her team have commandeered a spaceship and are flying out towards you. So you'll need to be prepared for them coming. So you're sort of like looking out for opponents. has taught you that. In terms of Danya, there's a lot of records here. What you know right now is the ship's name is the Firebringer. You can see that it was a terraforming ship, and its habitual way of working was it had a ship, the Epithemius, who would go out scouting for places that were terraformable, and good candidates. And when it found something, the Firebringer would go bring the supplies and turn the world into a paradise planet. So your last records were that the Epithemius had sort of gone out and reported back that it had found a planet, Aeronach 1, that was terraformable, and it was standing by waiting for the Firebringer to get the terraforming supplies to make it terraformable. What had happened was when the great stellar beacon located on Mars went silent and galactic travel was no longer safe because you couldn't see how hyperspace would be folded by these origami engines. Um, the ship eventually, when they realized the beacon wasn't coming back, just um, uh, they shut down the systems. They sort of like integrated with the society and were waiting for the beacon to come back, which it never did. So it's just been abandoned here for over a century. Now, our pilot, you're heading up to the bridge. You're having to dust things off, um, but you can power up the systems. Is there anything in particular you want to pay attention to first?
Uh, I kind of just want to get everything running and then get this ship going. Because ultimately, we have what everybody wants. I'd rather them not be able to get it. So, kind of
Okay.
play keep away is kind of my end all goal.
All right. So you basically turn everything on, which works well. You can see that, hey, Sable might be interested. There's even some lasers that the ship uses to like tear apart asteroids and access the precursor elements for Magalithim. Yep, all of the systems are coming online. Yep, there's the sensors. Here's the in-system drive. Here's the origami engine. That won't be important because you can't travel in hyperspace anymore. Here are the sensor suites. Oh, that's interesting. There's actually some new signals coming in here. Hey, wait a second. What's that green light over there? Oh, it looks like the origami engine. Wait, that can. Oh no. So all throughout the ship, purple lights start flashing, and there's a clanging that goes off, and then you suddenly feel a lurch in the pit of your stomach as the ship drops out of normal space and into hyperspace. So you have a moment of great surprise and then exhilaration, and then Tanya and Dada, who know what should happen, have a moment of great surprise because an unnavigated jump through hyperspace is pretty much instant death. So you're kind of surprised that you're not dead. So what would people like to do now that you realize that you're not dead?
As many scans as Tanya's brain can handle, like processing all of that information, because, yeah, we should be dead. I mean, I know mistakes lead to success, but this is one of those things where when I say science is advanced one funeral at a time, I really don't mean ours as much as I joke about it. What did you touch?
Um, Leslie is trying to see if he's still connected to social media.
Yes, the Wi-Fi
It's
still
a
good?
devastating moment, but everything is gone. There is, um, in this universe, the setting, communication is limited to the speed of travel. So there is no Ansible, no way to communicate faster than life, and you are currently dropping through folded hyperspace and so all of your feeds are dead.
I am.
So, more
Even
than
better.
hyperspace, this is much more terrifying to Leslie. Because like hyperspace is like, yeah, something that will never happen, but like literally in his life, he's never been disconnected once because he grew up in the convention. So Leslie is gonna have a panic attack and is not gonna be particularly useful for a while.
All right, now I will
Oh,
give you a fate point for your panic attack. That seems entirely a character and getting you into trouble. So you're just sort of like
mhm.
there, oh no, in your astronaut suit and like,
Oh,
no
definitely like
followers,
fetal
no
rocking
likes.
position, just like,
I
We're
think
clutching a
when
tricorder.
when
Oh,
when Leslie goes quiet on comms or however we're communicating,
yeah.
Sable's gonna be like, okay, knifey, and she's gonna turn the knife around so the sharp point is not going out. And it's like, I need you to go play a new role. You're gonna go be emotional support. Go go find him and take care of Leslie for a bit.
All right. Well, thank you for addressing the knife issue because it could have been a rather dramatic moment of patting him gently on the back with the knife. But
Just like, do you feel better?
all
No, my
right.
brother
So
was a Boy Scout. We know about blood circles.
all right, very good, very good, very good. All right, so emotional support Roomba.
On the way.
Narfi is there. The table is being taken care of. All right, so in terms of the scans, like what Sable can see looking out, and what Tanya can see is you are quite clearly in the sort of unknowable reaches of hyperspace. Basically, how hyperspace works is you need this sort of illumination from the Great Beacon to look into hyperspace to see how it's configured so that the engines can fold it, you can drop through it. So typically what happens is back in the day, the beacon was available and you could uh, travel by folding this hyperspace and all jumps through hyperspace took 4 hours. You would show up at your destination, dropping out of that folded space within 4 hours. Maybe not every destination would be available, but you could get there. And everything that your readings that you're seeing um, is showing that this is what is happening to you now. It all trues up with the history and your records. And it actually, for Donna, you probably, you've never been able to fly this way, but hey, there are Sims, right? You have fun flying Sims. So it trues up with what you know about what this looks like. The mystery that it takes you a while to unravel is that what appears to happen is there was a destination. This ship was programmed to go to a destination, but there was no beacon signal. Um, there has been, unknown to anyone because no one has been looking, over the past 4 months, a tiny beacon signal that has been transmitted for like 1 hour once a week for the past 4 months, like clockwork at the same time. And because your friend powered up the ship and the system was ready to go and it had access to the signal, you're going. Um, Boldly, if unintentionally. Um, and you're the first people from your civilization to be traveling intergalactically in 120 years. So you may have a hard time breaking a vial, but your ultimate goal was to get to the stars, and you're going to the stars. Just not the way you intended. So, what
Well,
would you like to do? Yeah.
hey, Leslie, Leslie, you're gonna be okay. We just voyagered this shit. That wasn't the intention, but we. You get to cosplay Captain Janeway now.
Very nice, thank you. I'm gonna just.
And Tanya's gonna do the medical like whatever she can. There are scientific ways of easing a panic attack. I can't remember them, but Tanya would.
Future Xanax.
Yeah.
Like breathing exercises and
Breathing exercises.
Space Xanax, only solution.
Tanya's probably even got a vial of it on her, or a bottle of it in pill form. It just we'll be fine.
You'll be fine. All right. Well, you do have an ambulance, right? So
Yeah, we have
Oh,
more medical
got it.
supplies.
yeah.
Pretty sure we have food. All this
120-year-old
scientific
food.
experiments.
Yeah.
Just clutching space knifey, like a puppy, just clutching the Roomba, roaring against my chest.
Aw. If I can program like Wally to have like that hertz of a cat purr in that rhythm, I'm probably gonna do that too.
Make it do the song,
Ah.
the Mogwai song from from Gremlins.
Oh. All
Okay,
right.
maybe
In a
not that.
person. All right. It works. Okay. All right. All right. So you've got that going well. In fact, it actually propagates through the Roomba's sort of work network. So all throughout the ship, you hear this sort of purring song going in the background as a variety of Roombas are trying to desperately clean 120 years of dust. So
not knowing that there was more than one, I think that is terrifying. They just
fair
all
enough.
start.
So
That is so scary.
Pan across from you're terrifying to like a Disney sort of like musical like thing of the cleaning robots like singing their happy song.
They're too short for me to punch.
That is mildly
Um,
terrifying if we're adding in the Mogwai song into that. Just the cat purr, Tanya would be happy. But adding the Mogwai? No. Oh. Um,
Well,
I'm
Donna is just along for the ride. I mean, this is faster than they've ever gone in their life, technically, and yeah, this is a blast. What are you talking about? And we got to go to the stars without following the rules of this convention. I mean, hey,
no, this
Yeah,
is
we know how
this
you
is so
feel
bad.
about rules.
all right, so you're having I'm a king of the world moment here. I like it.
absolutely.
All right, so you're out there, you're ready here to rock and explore. Anything that you want to do, any system you want to check, anything you want to sort of like look up, find out information about the destination, anything.
I think that's a big thing at this point is, okay, well, we're going, where are we going? Does the
Yeah.
ship have a record of where, like, the last place it was programmed to be going?
Or
Now
where this
you recall, yeah. So you recall that no artificial intelligence can survive hyperspace. So it has very primitive optical computers with like wearing like CD-ROM media. So it takes a while using these antiquated controls to pull up these log files, but they do exist and you can get them. And what you find out is that Anorak was a system with a gas giant and a one barely habitable um, Earth-sized planet in the inner system. That planet, its equator, the climate was roughly the equivalent of Scotland. So at its most temperate, you basically get Scotland, and least temperate, Arctic to non-survivable. All right. So it was it's the right size, good orbit. Adjusting the climate, the Firebringer would have been able to make it into a paradise world. But that was the sort of layout of the system.
Okay. If Tanya could dig through the records a little more, she's gonna see like what the formulas were supposed to be for terraforming, just in case. She's not gonna run the synthesis just yet, but if it can be done, she wants those formulas ahead of time. She's also going to go through the manifest to see what is actually on the ship, in addition to the materials for the Magaphinium. Like, but what else is on the ship that we can use in terms of supplies and things like that? Because we're going to be here for a while without support, apparently.
All right. I'll answer that question in two parts. First part, there is an aspect on the ship, ancient terraforming ship. Uh,
Mm.
so, because this is a huge ship used to explore and terraform planets, anything that you could justify, you can spend a fate point and have. So if it's like, hey, just predictable, like, hey, there's a spacesuit, yeah, you can just have that. But if there's something specific you want, just invoke that aspect, you can have it.
Okay.
Also, if you want to complicate your life because it's an ancient or a huge ship, you
Mhm.
could get a fate point based on that. So there's all sorts of gear. It's just a question of can you find it in this huge cavernous place.
Okay.
In terms of your other question, can you do it? I would go say over the course of the next 4 hours, and while you're getting there, you can have that ready. Like that'll take your time. I know Leslie is spending their time with their emotional support Roomba. You can spend your time and have the terraforming systems figured out to the
Mhm.
extent that it would justify your being able to make a roll to use them.
Tanya's been, she's only going to spend some time studying because the other options are just mildly terrifying. Not enough, but just mildly terrifying.
Uh,
She might need the facilities for like a brief moment just to scream and do a couple of other things. But no, she's fine
all
otherwise.
right, we'll have that brief cut to you in the middle of the Roomba's musical number, where you're like screaming. All right. Sounds good. Um, Otherwise, we can arrive in the system unless there's anything Sable or Donna would like to do.
I'm going to find a spacesuit and do some very minor tailoring so that I can wear it, because I will obviously be much smarter than the people who it was intended for.
You do, in fact, interestingly enough, like you're kind of annoyed because this is not your thing, but among the spacesuits that were here, I mean, literally, uh, there appears to be the possibility not just of you can easily fly this by yourself, but in terms of if they're bringing like settlers into this sort of world that was uninhabited and now can be habitable. They have rooms here for up to 2,000 people that could be potentially transported to a planet. So among those rooms, you find a spacesuit sized for a child, and you're kind of annoyed by that. Yet it's the right size, and no one's around you to give you a hassle and make halfling jokes. So it's there if you want.
I'll put one on, and I'll be sure that my pilot jacket is over the top of my spacesuit, even with that. So
Ah,
Did
sounds
like
perfect.
when I was a kid, we would get fishing poles, but they were like cartoons, so it would like have Scooby Doo or Hello Kitty
Yeah,
on it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
is this like a Hello Kitty spacesuit?
Yes, let's just say, yeah, it's a Hello Kitty, or alternatively, you could pick up the Dear Daniel one that's next to it.
then I will use a permanent marker to make sure that it has a devil horns on it and a goatee.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Give give Hello Kitty a mohawk.
No angry eyebrows.
Little line off
Just
to the
like,
side, it says "No rules." It's like the text bubble.
if you just get rid of that, oh, it could be Hell Kitty.
Yeah.
That could work. All
There we
right,
go.
so you're good. And then any last thing you'd like to do before we drop into system stable?
I can't think of anything. I think Sable's just probably, if anybody needs her for anything, she'll help out. but I think she's just kind of along for the ride. She's like, whatever we're gonna drop into, I'm gonna make sure I'm ready for it.
Okay. All right. So you feel another lurch in the pit of your stomach as you return to normal space. And there's a bit of a sort of klaxon thing going on, but you're used to it now, and it's feeling more normal. You do pop in out near the gas giant on the edge of the system, and you can see a sort of blue-white world of that, where you were expecting it. So that must be Anorak 1. So, crazy as it seems, it appears that the origami engine took you here safely to the destination it was programmed to.
It's... Okay, that's definitely interesting.
Well, if we got here, we might be able to get back, but we are here.
Well, let's take advantage of being
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we should check it out.
Is this world already terraformed?
Um, you're pretty far out. You could make a scan roll, but I think you know enough based on the readings that you can get from here that even without that, you can know that it is not been terraformed. But why don't you see what else you can learn with a scan?
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Oh, you want to do it?
I I want to look for the other ship, the first ship that came out, the scout ship.
All right.
So if you want to scan for the planet, I'll scan for the scout ship.
All right.
There are multiple scanning sensors on this ship, I'm sure. It's
It's
massive.
big. There are a lot of stations.
I'm gonna need a bike to get across this ship.
I got a 3 total for my scan.
Ooh.
Okay. So, yes, the climate has varied just a little bit, but not significantly, and well within what you'd expect over 120 years. So you're clear that it's not been terraformed. You do you are getting some anomalous readings, just in terms of some unanticipated radioactives. You can't resolve it at this range, but you're detecting some elements high up on the periodic table that just weren't expected to be on the planet. And Tanya, you were looking to see if you could determine with a ship. Why don't you make a
Mhm.
roll?
Yeah, that's a 1, so I can either let you play with my trouble, which is, wait, that looks interesting, or I can spend a fate point invoking aspect. My destiny is in the stars because we have literally traveled through the stars.
Okay. Um, why don't I like using your trouble here, so why don't we give you a
Mhm.
fate point and
Okay.
say you do detect the ship and you are so intrigued by it that you boost the gain and you're actively scanning, not just passively scanning. So you're actively doing it, not realizing or remembering at the moment because you're so excited that an active scan another ship could detect. Like if you were just passively receiving information, they would not necessarily know that, but you're actually able to get a lot more information because of the active scan.
Huh.
So you see that the ship has been found. It appears like it has settled on the planet. Um, so it wasn't really designed to land on a planet. It has shuttles to do that, but it looks like they thought there would be value. So they sort of had a sort of really impressive maneuver
Mhm.
120 years ago and landed there. You see nearby the ship a series of fields progressing outwards for it. It appears that they're raising food there in that
Okay.
sort of mostly temperate Scotland style, not exactly luxury Waikiki paradise planet, but survival Scotland area. They're raising food
Mhm.
there. The ambient level of the surrounding buildings is kind of like wooden and stone houses. It appears that the ship itself is settled and that there's a population of about 700 souls that you see life signs for, not including some herd animals like sheep and things like that. So it appears to be they were able to land the ship there. They have some sort of life there. And the ship is probably not something that can fly, but it's there. The other thing that you detect is nearby, overlooking that, is a starship. And this starship appears to be not crashed there. It appears to be recently arrived. It is sort of blasted clear an area that had been a sort of hill overlooking the settlement. And it's sort of like jutting up like a classic needle nosed rocket ship. Uh, and that is the source of all those weird atomic signals.
Hmm. That's, is that is that the source of the beacon? And yeah, she's going to tune into that ship. You said how many souls? A human, for lack of a better term. How many did you say there were?
About
Seven?
700,
700.
700 humans.
Okay. And she's gonna rattle all that off as she's like focusing in on the new ship that's pointing up. Like, sh-
Okay. All right. So you detect there's about um, six life signs within that little ship. It appears to be um, much more advanced than the sort of wood and stone building technology. It does appear that they're there. Based on the size of the ship, it doesn't include an origami engine. So it must be similar to like how the convention can have little local interstellar travel, but can't really
Mhm.
go far. So it looks like whoever these people are came here, but recently, but they do not have origami technology.
Okay, so not our
But they
people.
do have sensors that appear to be actively scanning
Hey,
as they're responding to your scans.
hey Leslie, you're up. I think I got attention.
I have been waiting my whole life for this. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm gonna wear. Okay, and
The
then
recovery.
flurry of panic. It's like grabbing like of course like I feel like there's like a mini wardrobe that pulls out and pops up and there's like just like stuff everywhere and like throwing scarves and different things everywhere just trying to find the best outfit for today.
Okay. All right. So you hastily bundle up, and you're actually just in time as a comm signal comes on. You kind of look like an asteroid, so it took them a while to find you, but you also took a while to get dressed. So there is an incoming comm signal going to you. Uh, uh,
Is 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 this like an active like we'll be having a conversation or is it just a message?
oh, this will be an active like Star Trek style, you know, talk up to the view screen type of thing.
Excellent. Um and the outfit I selected is actually the one that's on the character sheet that you sent us, but it is like an
Oh,
old explorer's garb from like what as a child you might have seen for like Columbus. But like there's like a doublet and pantaloons, there's the shoes with the buckle, like very much like explore into the universe kind of energy and like Leslie like positions them himself and is like ready.
I'm kind of imagining that if this was a movie, there'd be a montage of you putting this costume together, and the commander of the starship like find that ship, and then like all the underlings desperately trying to find you, and you desperately like, all right, it's this fast or that fast. So You see
Just
that
just hot
happening.
glue it to my skin. It's fine. It's fine. Let's go.
Uh, so the view screen lights up, and you see sort of sort of uh, a scowling man with a half-day growth of beard, sort of glaring up at you.
Hello.
Hello, indeed. This planet and these slaves are the property of the dank pilots of Gulch. Leave our space or be destroyed.
Oh, fuck. Uh, we are from the convention. We are not here to dispute territory. We are explorers, looking to meet others and reconnect with humanity.
We're here to make these people work and give us their food so that the pirate clans of the Dank Lords of Gulch can spread through the galaxy.
That sounds like bullying to me.
It does.
Mm.
That's my trouble.
Do you cut in into this feud
yeah.
now?
I
What do you
think
want to tell this pirate?
Sable, I mean, we're just in like the chat or like the call. So Sable's still wearing like her astronaut suit because, that's the most convenient thing to wear. Um, I think she kind of like tries to sound a little tough, but these people have never seen each other before. It's not like standing up to your high school bully, it's standing up to a conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think she gives her like the she gives like the pick on somebody your own size kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe, and
Yeah.
it probably just backfires and makes her look a little hokey.
Honestly, I think this is a dramatic moment. So I think she starts as a little hokey, but you know, you've stood up to people in the ring and you've stood up to bullying all your life. So I think it's a natural role that you sort of like lean into and you call them out and you look strong in doing so.
Oh,
And, um, Nagar is not cowed, but the sort of underlings, like looking up the view screen, we pan across their faces and they seem a little wondering, but Nagar goes, well then, if you think uh, caring for people and contacting them and reconnecting humanity is so nice and easy, let's see how that works. As for us, we believe that might makes right, and it cuts off the communication. So
oh,
Uh,
I know we are just like 5 minutes before the end of the session, so this may be a good point to wrap. But is there any last minute things that people would like their character to respond to this circumstance?
Tanya wants to find the gun controls.
Okay.
I mean, science advances one funeral at a time, and now it's in a good place to, defend her lost people, apparently. She has no qualms. Like, now the moment they said slave, she's like, where are the gun controls? There's an easy way to solve this. This ship has guns, right?
I
It
think
does.
Sable. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, oh, go ahead and say what you were saying.
I think Sable burns that man's face or that person's face, whoever we were talking to, into her brains because I'm gonna squash it one day.
I'll try to save you a piece.
I think
Good.
this is the first time Leslie has like seen Sable. Like Sable is awesome, but Sable is always Leslie's like Sable is the punchy puncher. Okay. And so like Leslie is like just like impressed,
Oh,
Oh, that's so great.
surprised, and just like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Was not prepared for that. And it's just like really proud of Sable.
Oh. I mean, all this is normal behavior for Tanya, isn't it?
Tanya's being Tanya.
Tanya's being Tanya. All right. You want me to go and roll blast, or are we
Oh,
gonna?
I think this is good. And then Donna, I'm guessing you're piloting them in.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm like, let's go break some rulers and hit the gas, and we'll go planet side.
I'm thinking that's a hashtag that needs to be going in later. All right, super. I hope everyone had a good time. If anyone is curious, this adventure, including the concluding scene, which we are on the cusp of, is available in the free quick start for Return to the Stars, which is available on itch. So you can find me. There's a lovely and exciting Return to the Stars on itch. The company is Festive Ninja, so festive.ninja is the website address. And I tweet microfiction from this setting at ninja underscore festive on Twitter for as long as Twitter is around, which is probably not a lot. I want to thank everyone for really engaging and doing some things I've never seen before. And it was great playing with you all. And maybe you might want to just talk about if you're on social media or have anything to share with people.
Absolutely. I can go ahead and wrap out the four of us. So, Justine, Corey, or Frankie, if y'all want to start.
I'm sorry. Start with what?
Socials, anything you got going on, really quick.
Oh, my brain, like, I went into panic mode. I'm like, now what are we doing? Well, since I'm talking, I'll go ahead. You can find me while it is still here, which I hope it stays for a little bit longer because new media platforms are a nuisance to build a gathering on. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Scribbles. That's MSCRIBBLZ. I got it ready this time. And I do art and stuff.
Nice. All right. I am Corey. You can find me both here at Rook and Rasp on Tuesdays doing the post-apocalyptic jukebox game where I play the very fun to play JC. And you can also find me on Mondays at Midnight Alley Podcast, both on Instagram and YouTube. And I think we're also on Spotify now. I just don't remember the link to Spotify off the top of my head. But you can find me in both of those places. And I'm always hanging around the uh, Rook and Rasp Discord, so you can find me there too. So, right.
Hi, I'm Frankie. I'm a bit of a newbie to the scene. But if you would like to follow my Instagram, where I'll start probably posting stuff soon, or if you just really want to see what my cats look like, my Instagram handle's at young butthead. Uh, and I look forward to seeing people in lots of different ways. No, that is very real. It's who I am.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
I
thank you for
love it
having
though.
me.
No problem. And as always, I am John. And right now, I guess you could say, well, first and foremost, we are Rook and Rasp on any social media platform. You can find us there. And we just recently started up over on Mastodon. So if you are hopping on Mastodon or are curious about it, I would say if you are watching this show and are a gamer or participating in it, Dice.camp is a website specifically for the tabletop RPG community, which, yeah, basically Mastodon works as a whole bunch of different servers, kind of like Twitter, but it's all little individual places based around individual interests. Dice.camp is where we are now. Other than that, I will say that I have a Kickstarter going currently for my role playing game, which we just crossed officially today 600% on our backing. So doing really good. Justine, if you're looking at our screen, she's actually above me. Justine was the artist on that book. So thank you, Justine, and wonderful time, guys. I'm headed over after this show to the boys from the Baltic Star. For I'm running my game over there on actual play. So an hour. Go check us out there. All right. And
Yeah.
remember, everyone, seriously, let's play. Night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.